Hey everyone, this week I'm going to try and capture an image that doesn't fall into the usual woodland photography cliche traps. So there is a notion by a lot of people out there that woodland photography is a little bit cliche, particularly a lot of the stuff we see online. And you know the look, it's that kind of soft, dreamy, ethereal look, quite fantasy. And I've got to say, it is a look that I quite like and a look that I go for in my woodland photography images. And I should say at this point that I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to use cliches in your photography. I think you should just do whatever you want to do, and if you like that look, just go for it. But it does present an interesting challenge, and that's what I'm going to try and do today. I'm going to try and get a shot of the woodland without getting any of those cliches. And so I've come to Langsett today, on the edge of the UK's Peak District, and yeah, I'm going to try and get a woodland shot which doesn't fall into the usual cliche traps. So one woodland photography cliche that almost everyone follows with their woodland photography, myself included, is to only shoot in foggy or misty conditions. And while that's great for woodland photography, I've talked about that before, it separates all the chaos of the branches and really gives you a much cleaner looking image, much better for a woodland composition. While it is great, it is also cliche. They all look the same, they've all got that mist or fog. So as you can see today, it's not foggy. And so I'm hoping that at least lends a little bit to my image to look set apart from the usual cliche woodland shot. Also, one of the cliches that I tend to follow a lot is to shoot at longer focal lengths when I'm in the woodland. And again, that helps to just get rid of a lot of the clutter. You can focus in on a smaller portion of the woodland and it really helps to frame and compose your shot. But again, it is cliche looking, so today I'm going to try and get a wider shot, and I think I'm going to stay in this area because there are some mushrooms on the floor. What I want to do, it's going to be difficult, is to get a wide shot with the mushrooms in the foreground, and I might have to stack that to get the depth of field that I want. But yeah, I want a wide shot with the mushrooms and then the rest of the trees in the background. So let's try that. Another thing I'm not doing today is using a circular polarizer. So I would normally always use one for woodland photography. I've talked about how good they are before for woodland. They take away the shine from leaves, particularly if it's a wet morning or day, and they will saturate colours, make them look a bit bolder, etc. But again, to avoid cliches, at least my own cliches, I'm not going to use one this morning. And I am convinced that the wide angle shot is what I want for this challenge, so I'm going to stick with that, but I need a better foreground interest, mushrooms or ferns or whatever it is, so I'm going to carry on looking. I've not got a right lot of time, but I'm going to try and find another shot with some better foreground interest for that wide angle shot. So I've switched to the Nikko Z 14 to 30mm f4 lens here. So that's giving me a really good wide angle view. And I've got these really great mushrooms on the old tree stump here. And at the moment what I'm doing is looking up, almost underneath the mushrooms, kind of looking up at the trees. And it's just a really unusual angle, at least for my woodland photography anyway. So yeah, I'm finding it really interesting. And I'm using focus shift shooting because I'm really close to the mushrooms. I can't focus on those and get everything in the background in focus as well. So I've talked about focus shift shooting before. I'll put a video link up top here if you want to watch that, how to do it. But basically it's going to take a series of shots. I'll start with focus on the mushrooms, and it's going to take a series of shots, getting gradually further into the scene, focusing further into the distance so that it captures the background and the trees as well. And I'm almost out of time this morning. I need to get back and get to real work. And I think a lot of the cliches that come with woodland photography is actually in the editing. So hopefully I've got enough shots now to take back with me, and when I get home, after I've edited these images, I'll talk about how I've edited them, and I'm going to try and edit them differently to how I would normally, and hopefully that avoids some cliches as well. So I'll see you back home. So that was a really interesting exercise. And I've tried to continue to avoid cliches in the way I've edited these images, and you'll have seen them already throughout the video. But before I talk about what I've done to them, let's have a look at this image. This is the first image I took on the morning, and this is how I would usually edit it. You can see it's fairly warm, not particularly saturated in colour, it's quite soft, and I've gradually made it softer the deeper you go into the image, and that helps to add depth to the image. And so for this challenge I've tried to do the opposite, and I've got to admit it was quite difficult because I had to do all of the things that I don't really normally want to do, and it felt really uncomfortable. If we have a look at this edit, you'll see it's bold, saturated, high contrast, lots of clarity and texture, and we've got that sharpness right from the front to the back of the image. And I'm not sure if I like it. It's just not what I would normally go for. I did think the mushroom shots worked better. If we have a look at this one, again, I've edited it in a way I don't really like, but it's definitely not cliche, at least not by my own standards. And because of that crazy depth of field due to the focus stacking, it does look kind of surreal, almost like an AI image, even though it isn't. And full disclosure, I did use some generative AI in Photoshop just to blend the edges between the different images where the focus stacking hasn't quite worked. You'll see there's kind of like blurs between the background and the foreground where the edge of the mushroom just looks a little bit blurry, and I just got rid of that with some generative AI. So like I said, these are not my favourite images. I personally really like the soft painted look that a lot of people find cliche in woodland images, and I'm going to be sticking with that. But it has been a really useful challenge, and I have learned some things. I really do like the foreground interest of the mushrooms and that focus stacked look. So I'm going to be trying that out in future again, and I'm just going to be trying to improve the image, maybe some better lighting, better conditions, and I will be editing those in a much softer, more cliche perhaps, way that I usually do. But in general, I would say don't worry about cliches. Whether you're trying to avoid them or follow them, the main thing is that you like your images. Because at the end of the day, they're your images, you've got to live with them, and you've got to be happy with them first before anybody else is. So that's about it for this video. Huge thank you for watching. If you have liked the video or found it useful in any way, please just give it a thumbs up down below. That really helps out. I think YouTube has changed the algorithm recently. A lot of people are finding that their videos are not as findable as they once were. And one of the best ways to help with that is to give the videos a thumbs up and a comment. And that way, it really helps out me, obviously, it gets the video shared more widely, but hopefully it helps other people who find the video and they can learn from it. So hopefully everyone wins. A massive thanks to you if you're a regular viewer, really do appreciate it, as I always say. But if you're not yet subscribed and you'd like to do so, you can just click down there on the big red button, or over here on this little picture of me. That way you can keep up to date with everything I'm doing. There are new videos Sunday mornings at 10 AM UK time. So I hope you can join me for the next one. Until then, thanks a lot everyone, and bye for now.